Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel where the biblical backgrounds matter. You'll remember the last time that we went through Job, we went through chapter 22, where Eliphaz accuses Job of wickedness. He basically described the hypocrite and the false prophet and the destruction that God will bring on them. Now, as we get into chapter 23, Job proclaims God's righteous judgments. Then Job answered and said, Even today my complaint is bitter. My hand is listless because of my groaning. Right away, Job acknowledges his own bitterness. Any one of us who has suffered that long does eventually get frustrated and bitter. But God sees us through it, just as he did for Job. Verse 3, Oh, that I knew where I might find him, that I might come to his seat. Job is looking to seek after God and find him, to sit at his seat, to get back to that original fellowship that he had with him. Verse 4, I would present my case before him and fill my mouth with arguments. I would know the words which he would answer me, and understand what he would say to me. Job is saying that he would present his case to God and then seek answers from him. Because every single one of us eventually has questions about why we struggle in life. What went wrong at such and such a time? Verse 6, Would he contend with me in his great power? No, but he would take note of me. Job knows that God is all-powerful, and he knows that God forgets nothing and remembers everything and needs no reminders. God already knows everything. Verse 8. Back up to verse 7. There the upright could reason with him, and I would be delivered forever from my judge. Remember all the way back to the beginning that Job was an upright man who shunned evil, who offered daily sacrifices to God just in case his own children went away. So we can get from this that this was probably a prelude to the Mosaic Law. Verse 8, Look, I go forward, but he is not there, and backward, but I cannot perceive him. When he works on the left hand, I cannot behold him. When he turns to the right hand, I cannot see him. By this time, Job was feeling like God had left him. Well, we know from both Old and New Testaments that God promises never to leave us nor forsake us. He made the promise to Moses and to Joshua, and then he made the promise in the New Testament as well to the church. He made the promise in the Old Testament to the Hebrews, and then he made the promise in the New Testament to the church. So either way, God's promise remains the same. Verse 9, when he works on the left hand, I cannot behold him. When he turns to the right hand, I cannot see him. Verse 10, but he knows the way that I take. When he has tested me, I shall come forth as gold. Job is saying that he knows that God is testing him here. And he is determined to pass that test. He understands that God will reward him in the end. Although he still does not fully understand his situation and why God has allowed the devil to attack him for so long. There are certain things that only God himself knows, that no human mind can comprehend, that we can never understand. Verse 11, my foot has held fast to his steps. I have kept his way and not turned aside. I have not departed from the commandments of his lips. I have treasured the words of his mouth more than my necessary food. So Job remembers all the way back to the beginning that he has not turned aside and that he has kept the commandments of God. He has done the will of God all the way to the best of his ability. He has treasured the Word of God. He has kept it in his heart and in his mind. Verse 13, but he is unique, and who can make him change? Answer to that, nobody can make God change. He remains the same no matter what. And whatever his soul desires, that he does. Remember that God is all-powerful, he's all-knowing, he is sovereign, he is in control. He does as he pleases. For he performs what is appointed for me, and many such things are with him. Therefore I am terrified at his presence. When I consider this, I am afraid of him. Job knows that he has stumbled and that he has fallen into bitterness and depression by now from the oppression that has surrounded him. Verse 16 and 17, and this finishes out the chapter. For God made my heart weak, and the Almighty terrifies me, because I was not cut off from the presence of darkness, and he did not hide deep darkness from my face. So what Job is saying here is that because he knows that God has let all this happen to him, he is afraid of God. And because he knows that God is powerful, he is afraid of how God will judge him. As we all should be, as we examine ourselves, see where we have sinned, where we have fallen short, where we have become bitter. And that's about all I've got for this lesson. Until next time, may God bless you, and remember that biblical backgrounds matter. Y'all have a good night.